Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Yes, this is true. You can get up to $75,000 in business credit cards without a business. All right. And I'm going to actually explain to you how, because I'm going to show you how to fill out this business credit card application so you can get the maximum amount of funding. Okay. Now, here's the thing about it. The first thing, your business name. All right. Even if it's not a registered business, you have to have, or you should have, a business name. All right. And you have to make sure that that business name is not trademarked. So, what I mean that you can't call it Twitter X or Facebook or something like that. You can't have a name that's already registered, okay? Because if you get a name that's already registered, they're going to decline and you can possibly get into any other legal trouble. So you don't want to use somebody else's name. And I'll tell you another reason you want to make sure that you check on the name before you use it, because let's just say you have Sam's dog walking business. All right. Now, Sam's dog walking business went out of business, but they already had credit cards and stuff like that, right? So they never paid off their credit cards. So now their information is in the business credit bureau system, and they've been red flags with banks. And I'm going to talk more about it. But what ends up happening now, you have this here name, and when you try to go get business funding, business credit cards and stuff, you get denied, but you don't know why. And it could be because they match your business name, your brand new business name, up with an existing name that's out of business. Okay. And that's why it makes it challenging for some people to get business funding. Another thing that makes things hard for you to get business funding is a virtual address. Okay. Because I know a lot of people, when they filling an application, they like, well, can I use my virtual address? All right. Well, you have to be careful with that too. And the reason is with virtual addresses, because they have been recycled. There have been businesses prior to yours that have used this address. Okay. And when they have used this address, they have went to some of the banks that you're going to be going to, and they applied for credit cards. So when they applied for credit cards using that virtual address that you're using, and they didn't pay those credit cards back, well, guess what? Now that information is flagged. So then with your business, okay, using that virtual address, all right, when you apply, again, because the virtual address is flagged, you're getting denied. You don't know what's going on. So now you have to check not only Dun and Bradstreet, but you're going to have to check LexisNexis as well to see LexisNexis business to see what's going on with this address. Okay. And a lot of people do not know that. They'll try to challenge it with Dun and Bradstreet, but Dun and Bradstreet is not the only place you need to check. You need to check with LexisNexis. Okay. Because LexisNexis has your business information as well, and they're selling that information. So you'll have to get your LexisNexis and you'll have to straighten it out with them and then go back to Dun and Bradstreet. Okay, to help you get funding. If I'm making sense, put a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe, okay? Now, here's another thing. Since I just have an unregistered business, do I use my social? Do I use EIN number? Because some people, they may already have an EIN number with their DBA. Or if I'm a foreigner, do I use my ITIN? Okay, so with your foreigner, of course you use your ITIN. If you're a DBA, okay, you have the option to use your social as well as your ITI as your EIN number. Now, here's the thing about it. Most banks, they're going to look you up by your social. That's the reason that they're identifying you by your social. Okay. And so, whatever is going on, they're going to use the information from that. All right. And most people are not aware of this because they're like, well, how are they going to give me a business credit card and I have to use my social? The reason they're using the social to make sure that you say who you are on this application. Okay. That's the reason why they're asking you for your social security number. All right. Now, again, you can use your EIN number, but please understand they may come back and say, "Hey, can you give us your social?" And the reason is because you don't have an established business credit file. Okay, you don't have any revenue in the business. You're a brand new company. So because you're a brand new company, no revenue, no business credit file, guess what? You still have to use your social. All right. And this is something that's very important that a lot of people misunderstand. And I hope this is helping. Now, what's the lowest credit score and the income that you need in order to get a business credit card when you don't have a business? Okay. Now, for me, looking at credit files every day and stuff like that, the lowest credit score I have seen is with about a 660. Okay. So the average credit score to get a business credit card is usually about a 680. The lowest credit score I've seen is with a 660. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that, and there are credit cards out there that don't even look at your credit score. All right, and that's with NAV. There's other ones and stuff, but NAV is one of those ones. They don't care about the credit score. They care about, you know, do you have a registered business? So where they look at, do you have a registered business? The banks, they don't care if you have a registered business, they care about the credit score. So you see the difference in the two. Now, again, average credit score is usually about a 680 credit score. All right. Now, what about the income? Now, the income, here's the thing that gets tricky. All right. Because with most banks, you can go off a stated income. So basically, your household income. So if you and your wife is in the household and y'all the only two drawing income, then you combine that. If you have a 401k, some type of retirement account or something like that, you may be receiving child support or alimony. Okay, so your overall household income is what they're looking for. So that's going to be like your projected income in order to get you qualified for a business credit card. All right. So that's the reason why I try to get people to understand that there's variables when you say, hey, I got an 800 credit score. Also, how thick the file is. That's another thing. How many accounts is on the file? If you have less than 4 accounts, some banks won't even touch you. Or you can have an 800 with subprime accounts and the banks won't touch you. So it's all in a matter of what type of credit file you have. All right. But your average credit score is a 680. The income, looking at the household income, um, like I said, usually about 40, I want to say 45 and up. Okay. That's where you want to be. All right. Projected numbers. Now, again, like I said, these creditors, they're usually going to start you out with less than 5,000 for the most of it because you're brand new. Now, how long have you been in business? Well, this is something that's interesting. You're a brand new business. So, this is the difference, okay? With certain institutions, when it comes to credit cards, you can be day one in business. Now, those same institutions, when it comes to a business loan, guess what? They want you to be in business anywhere from 18 months to 24 months. Also, I'll tell you something else. The amount of money that you're asking for. I always tell people if you want to avoid uh, producing documentation, even as a new business, you don't want to request over $5,000. You do not want to do that. Okay. That's not good. Excuse me, $25,000. You do not want to request over $25,000. Okay. Now, again, this keeps you under the radar and it keeps you from having to show, excuse me, having to show documentation. So if you're trying to get away with no docs, don't go over 25,000. All right. Now, here's some of the types of businesses, because I always talk about businesses, high risk NAICS codes and stuff. So when you're looking for a business credit card, yes, you can be an Uber driver, Lyft driver, DoorDash, all of those. Some of the other ones, to give you an idea: content creation, marketing strategy, website designer, landing page design. So you have different things, website content, that you can actually do for as your business. Like I said, daycare, um, plumber, multiple types of businesses that you can have as an unregistered business to be able to qualify for funding. Okay, qualify for a business credit card. That's not your issue. All right. Now, credit freeze. This is a big one, because a lot of people don't know if they should unfreeze their credit or not. Well, I'm going to tell you now, you need to unfreeze your credit. All right. Most of these creditors that I'm going to be showing you, more than likely, they're going to be pulling from Experian. Okay. That's most of the time. Now, with certain creditors and stuff, they may pull TransUnion. But most of the time, you more likely are going to get a pull from Experian. And that being said, um, do you need a business credit score? No, you don't need a business credit score, because a lot of us, we hear about a Paydex score, we hear about an Experian business score, a Equifax business score, or a FICO business score. You do not need any of these. Okay, you're brand new. You do not have to worry about any of these in order to qualify for a business credit card with a non-registered business. Okay, this is not your issue. All right. Now, here's the credit cards, and I'm going to tell you what credit bureaus they pull from. All right. Here's Wells Fargo. So, Wells Fargo, on the business side, they're more likely going to pull your Experian FICO 9. Okay. So, they pull Experian FICO 9. Right. Then, with Capital One Spark, Capital One Spark, because it is a Capital One card, they're going to report on both the business and the personal side. Okay. And so they're going to pull all three credit bureaus. However, you actually can freeze one or two of your credit bureaus and they'll just pull from one. Okay. But just believe that they more than likely are going to pull multiple credit files, and it's going to report on both the business and the personal. The good thing about this here card, this Credit Capital One Spark Classic, is that they are only needing a 580 credit score. So the best part about it, you may have had a relationship in the past with Capital One that went sour. That does not eliminate you from getting qualified for this here card. All right. Now, this excuse me, this Chase card, this chasing card. The situation with the chasing card, all right. If you're brand new, they're going to pull both Experian, and they're going to pull TransUnion, FICO 8 scores. Okay. One of the things about it, if you have a 524, okay, going after the business credit card, they may still approve you. All right. So let me clear up the 524. If you had 5 open revolving credit cards, okay, on the personal side open in the past 24 months, that's where the 524 comes from. Okay. Um, if you apply for the business credit card, sometimes they may say no, sometimes they may say yes. All right. Most of the time, I have seen them to still accept you to get a business credit card. All right. So this may be a great option to get around that 524 if you already have 5 open revolving accounts. And here's the kicker: they don't care who it's with. All right. If it's not with them, you went to five other banks and got a personal credit card with each of those banks. All right. Then they will disqualify you for their card. However, again, the thing about it is sometimes with the business credit card, they may exempt you and allow you to get this card. All right. Now, American Express. American Express usually going to pull Experian as well. If you're brand new to American Express, they're going to pull Experian and TransUnion. However, once you get that first credit card with them, then every credit card after that, they will not do a hard pull. Now, here's something you have to be very careful with American Express. Okay. So with American Express, um, if they give you a card, let's just say they give you 25,000, all right? And let's just say you use that 25,000 to pay for inventory, advertising and stuff, and then you paid it back the following month. And you did that back to back 2 to 3 times. Well, guess what? They are more likely are going to do a financial review and they're going to lock your card up. And so they're going to ask you for a 4506T. They're going to see your taxes. They may want to see bank statements and stuff like that. Now, how do you get around that? Well, the best way to get around that is whatever bank that you're actually doing all your business transactions with, make sure you're using that bank account to pay your business credit card. So that way it makes it easier for them to use Plaid to log into your business bank account to make sure that you're doing what you're saying with that business bank account. Okay. Now, here's something I want to tell you guys, and a lot of people get confused on this. What ends up happening, some banks, and we're going to be talking about like US Bank, you signed up for US Bank. Say that you said that your company or is doing dog walking or something like that, right? But then all of a sudden you have these large transactions that look like high risk transactions. They'll close down your checking account. Okay? And most people don't understand, well, why they do that. Well, because you said that your company is doing one thing, however, all the transactions is saying is doing something else. Okay, so you may be in a high risk business like credit repair. However, you said that your business was in dog walking. So you start getting transactions come in and they start seeing all these transactions and they may just glimpse and say, okay, why is this credit repair? It's high risk. So they will close your account down. Now, here's another thing that I want to tell you. With US Bank, they may start you out with only 500, okay? Then as you use that card, after 6 months, they're going to do an automatic credit increase, okay? Because they're trying to see how often you're using the card, seeing will you even use the card even if they gave you only 500, okay? And so here's the backdoor secret. If they only give you 500, use that card. The reason is now you're able to go through a different credit union like Consumer Credit Union and apply for one of their Elon Financial, their sister company cards. And you may get 25,000 out of that, out of Elon Financial, even though US Bank only gave you 5. It's because you're in their ecosystem. So it's a backdoor way for you to get higher limit credit cards from their other institutions. All right. So that being said, if you have any questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negatives off the credit, registering your business so you can get access to more funding, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.